Good morning. Good morning. Sometimes it's just very hard to get up here because everyone is too fun. So, welcome this morning to Woodland Chapel. We're so glad you're here this morning. And wow, just so glad you're here this morning. I do come for the messages. I do. But a large part of what I come is to see you guys, and it just uplifts my spirit. So, yeah, and Ari, how are you?
I'm good.
It's so exciting. We're going to have a new baby soon. When?
End of August.
And when?
August.
August.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So glad you're here. Yeah.
I know, right?
So, yeah, is there anyone here for the first time today? Okay. Clear in the back. And you guys have been here. You absolutely have. So you can still have a packet, but so anyway, somebody should deliver a packet to you if you're here for the first time, and it should have a magazine in it. And if it's not, you just come tell somebody. So downstairs we have fellowship. My husband said something this morning, and I had to remind him it's the fourth Sunday and there's no food, but there is coffee and snacks. I know we get used to having food here, which we will next week is the first Sunday of the month. So potluck.
Snacks, don't you?
Yeah, they are great snacks. I already had one, thank you. So next Sunday, potluck Sunday, be sure and be here. And you can bring something. If you forget to bring something, that doesn't really matter. You'll notice in your announcements, which you can take home and look at. And the other thing is, if any of you are not getting our weekly announcements and would like to do that says what's going on and reminders and whatnot, you can sign that book in the back, or just let Dawn and I know. And I know a couple of you did give us I think you gave us last week, and I will get them in this week. So, yeah, if you're not getting that and you would like that, put your email and your name in that book in the back, or come give it to us. It's better to put it in the back because I get talking and it goes in my pocket, and then it goes in the laundry, and you know how that is. So, lots of good things. This book study, I am very impressed, and I live in Happy Valley, which is an hour away, so I really don't get to come to it, but the books that the book group does are really pretty phenomenal books. So that's on Friday, isn't it, yeah. Kathy? From 2 to 3:30 here in the library. And there's a new class starting in June, Self-Mastery, the Emergence of the True Self. The information is in your bulletin, so take all that home. And I do want to remind you of prayer requests, because we are a tradition founded on prayer. Prayer works, you guys. It absolutely works. And we have a way of praying here that's affirming the truth. And so one thing in getting in classes, there isn't a single class we do that doesn't talk about that, because honestly, you guys, it really, really works. So, Ari, are we going to stand and sing or sit and sing?
I would love it if you would stand, if you're up for it. And sing Peace Like a River with me. Ready? I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. Love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. Strength. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. Joy. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. One more time, peace. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Yeah, thank you.
And so our practitioner Cheryl is going to center us in prayer.
Good morning. I don't have my badge on. Hi. I don't have my badge on, but I am Cheryl, one of the Cheryls here. So, yeah. And I'm just looking out and I'm drinking in the beauty of this group. It's just wonderful to see you all here. Good morning, Gail. It's good to see you. Yes. Okay. I invite you to turn within and join me in prayer. Knowing the magnificent power that is Spirit, God, higher power, the one power in the universe that goes by many names, the one power to which many paths lead. I know that each of us is an expression of that power, individually formed in its likeness, expressing in a way that is individual to each of us and unique to each of us. And I know that we've come here to find greater expression in that power, to express in community, to express individually, to know that we are one with that power. I know that this service goes forth with just great joy. We're uplifted by the music. The message reaches each of us in its own special way. I know there's great laughter here, great laughter and joy, and I celebrate that. And I've been taught that that's how we are meant to be, joyful. There may be sorrow, but there is also joy. And with great gratitude in my heart, I will release this prayer into the law, knowing it is enacted through law and through grace so much more. And I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. And we have an affirmation here. If I can untie my tongue to lead it. You'll find it under opening prayer. In this moment, I release any distractions, any distress, and I align myself with love, with peace, with all things that bring me joy. Yes, this is the way my soul can thrive, and so it is.
Good morning. My name is Shannon. I will be giving the reading today. It is from the Guide for Spiritual Living, Science of Mind, page 46. And it's a little different than what you've heard before, but then Reverend Don is giving our message today, and so he might be giving a few little different twists and turns. So I decided to do that with the reading. It is called Beyond the Computer's Grasp. As if you missed what I just said, I said that Reverend Don often takes twists and turns in his message. So I am taking a twist in this reading because we're talking about computers, not happiness. But in my life, computers make me happy. I'm a writer, and this particular topic I love. So I will commence. Our first quotation comes from Joseph Campbell, a noted poet and philosopher. Computers are like Old Testament gods. Lots of rules and no mercy. And then Ernest Holmes, who wrote The Science of Mind, says this: realizing that conscious thought operates through a power that is infinite, we see there can be no limit to the power of the mind to heal. That's a little more spiritual. So here's the message. Siri and her ilk. If you don't know who Siri is, then just ask who she is. Accustomed us to conversing with AI, which is artificial intelligence, as a common practice. Open AI gathered data from the internet, books, website, and social media, and created this giant brain. Chatbots generate responses that seem friendly and intelligent. AI now produces essays, articles, poetry, and even takes a bar exam. You can even have a conversation with a deceased historical figure. For instance, you can ask Ernest Holmes what he thinks about your ideas. What a blessing this brings, and what concerns. The aspect of religion that cannot ever be replaced by AI is the felt sense of connectedness with the living Spirit of God. It is feelings of gratitude and awe. A perceived reality is in the brain, while the heart and soul are where spirituality thrives. The mystical is a deep connection with the incalculable, a merging with the full spectrum of emotions, feelings, sensual and soulful. The challenge is not that computers will think like humans, but that humans will begin to think like computers. Life is more than just an intellectual amalgamation. It is a blending of the multidimensional aspects of your being. The wonder of a community of loving family and friends will never be felt and experienced by a computer program. The simple keystroke that takes you as spiritual being having a human experience beyond a computer's grasp is a feeling of gratitude, a perceived reality in the brain, while spirituality thrives in the heart and soul. Life is more than just an intellectual amalgamation. It is a blending of the multidimensional aspects of your being. No computer can compute that. And our ending affirmation is, I now feel my higher wisdom guiding me on my perfect path. Thank you. Science of Mind magazine.
Hello again. Well, when Rev Don reached out about this week, he told me that the topic was happiness of the soul. And so I was inspired to write another song. So this is called Happiness Starts Within. Happiness starts within. My thoughts will lead the way. From there I will begin to change the way I view my day. I will find the joy in any little thing, though I still feel pain. I let go of the chains. Happiness starts within. My thoughts will lead the way. From there I can begin to change the way I view my day. I can find the joy in any little thing, though I still feel pain. I let go of their chains. Happiness starts within. Our thoughts will lead the way. From there we can begin to change the way we live our days. We can find joy in every little thing. We will still feel pain, but let go of the chains they hold, 'cause happiness, oh, happiness, yes, happiness, it starts within, oh, happiness. Our thoughts will lead the way. Happiness, open us up to a brighter day. Oh, happiness, a choice we get to make. Yes, happiness. Oh, happiness starts within. Thank you.
Thank you, Ari. Wow, just always so awesome. And so this morning, our messenger is Reverend Don Kerr. And for those of you who are new or semi-new here, and do get to know him, he is like the light of the center. And I'm not kidding you, he's like the heart and light of the center. Truly, truly one of the people I admire the most, really.
I love you too, Julie. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Harry. I've always said your voice is so sweet, just so sweet. So before we get started on our topic of the soul and the happiness of the soul, I really would like to tell you my favorite dog joke. The old hound joke. I think about 12, 15 years ago, it's very sanctuary, I think I told that joke. Got a standing ovation. I don't know how it'll go now, but so I think I'll do that right away, because I had this on my mind, and I couldn't get it out of my mind, so it's therapy for me to tell this joke. So let me do that, okay? It turns out, I had it written out here. It says, one day an old German shepherd was out chasing rabbits, and he found himself lost. So sitting down for a rest, he notices a cougar heading his direction, kind of creeping along with an intention of having him for lunch. Well, the old German Shepherd's been around a while. He's no dummy. He's been around. It crosses his mind that he is in deep doo-doo. But noticing some fresh bones on the ground right there beside him, he immediately starts about chewing them up, just chomping them away, and he's smacking his lips and going, And he turns his back on the creeping cougar, and with his good dog sense, that old hound sense, he lets the cougar get within voice range. And then he says, "Boy, that was a delicious panther. I could use another one. I'm still hungry. Can't wait to get another." So hearing this, the young, unexperienced cougar halts his attack, and with a look of terror coming over him, he slinks away into the trees. "Whew," he says to himself, "that mangy old dog almost had me." Well, meanwhile, a young squirrel who'd been watching that whole scenario, sitting over a tree branch over the dog, he figures he can put this knowledge of a deception to work for his advantage. So maybe he can trade it in for protection from the big cougar cat. Cougars have been known to eat squirrels. So he scurries away through the branches, and he hops down near the cougar, and he spills the beans. Lets him know what's going on. Well, the old German Shepherd spotted the squirrel doing this, and he figures something is up. So the squirrel spills the beans to the cougar, and so what happens is the cougar's furious, naturally. So he tells the squirrel, "Hop on my back. I'll show you how we handle that conniving canine." And so off they head towards the dog again. But the dog, again, he's no fool. He senses the whole thing. He sees everything. He sees the squirrel hanging out on the cat's back. And he says to himself, "What am I going to do now? Let's see." Okay, so he turns around. He sits down, turning his back to the old cat again, the big cat. And he pretends he hasn't heard them or anything, seen them. And he uses that dog sense that he does, and he listens till he knows they're getting close enough and within earshot, and he says in a loud voice, "Now where's that dang squirrel? I sent him off an hour ago to bring me back a cougar." Wow. I'm glad you like it too. I'm so glad you like it too. Son of a gun. Oh. So back to the suggested topic of happiness of the soul. This topic kind of threw me a bit. Really it did, because to me, there's an intimacy that I have about the soul, and I think most people do. Intimacy is a human craving. You know that. Intimacy, when we meditate on intimacy, for an example, we kind of come to the conclusion that the most intimate part of our body is the heart, the cherished heart. The heart keeps the energy, of life form circulating through our body. But when we meditate on the spiritual part of who we are, what is us, I think we can conclude that the most intimate part of our spirit is soul. The soul. The soul has its connection to our spirit that's unbreakable, totally unbreakable. Now, the thing is about this, we really had 3 wonderful messages in the last 3 Sundays. Last Sunday, Reverend Julie finished up with sharing her happiness of the mind, all the wonderful suggestions we had. And before that, Cheryl Ostrander, the practitioner Cheryl Ostrander, she did the one on explaining happiness of the heart. Those were great Sundays. If you weren't here, you missed something good. Reverend Moore started it out with just sharing happiness for no reason. And now that could have ended the happiness story, I think. But today I was asked to consider happiness as a soul experience somehow, perhaps a quality of the soul that came to mind. And I think that very word soul is just one of those mystery words, one of those spiritual words that has been spoken in various definitions, ideas of what it's all. What is a soul? For the descriptions, we've used it in many ways. We talk soul language. We say from soul food. I don't know, what about that? Or seeking this soul mate. you know. Even a song by Elvis Presley. Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? Yeah. Shaking like a leaf on a mulberry tree. Oh, I like that song. We've used soul with words like, it touched my soul. My soul rejoices. Bless my soul. Mind, body, soul. All that soul comes out in so many ways. And most often, I think we weave in with our perspectives to hold a spiritual significance or a spiritual meaning about soul. Now, I read something from an author. I can't think of her name right now. It was a woman. You know, women are pretty smart. I found out over the years. I've been married for 100 years. Much.
Men too. Men are smart too.
Well, I think I'm going to skip that part there because it sounds too intimidating to me right now. So, growing up, when I was a young lad growing up, I grew up in a very strong Christian traditional. My grandfather, you've heard me talk about that. My grandfather was a born again preacher. And I heard other pastors speak, and they were always speaking in various ways to how they were helping to save souls. Souls always seemed to be needing to be saved. And I just wasn't getting what was going on. I've got an acquaintance still to this day who I met in my business and who kind of clung on to me as a project to save. He's a pastor of a very large traditional Christian church in Portland today. He's still there. He continues to tell me, he'll call me on the phone, we'll talk, that I got to accept this one way that is his way to save my soul. He says he loves me. He says God loves you, Don. But I got to tell you, Don, you're going to face God's judgment someday, and you're going to pay your soul's price if you don't take that step. Now, in his belief, there's only one way for a soul to be saved. His way, of course. Now, but I ask, does that sound like the soul having a happiness experience? How can a soul be happy if it comes into the world, let's say, okay, the soul comes into the world, however it does this now, and it's told by humans that it is tainted in some way and needs to be saved before it can claim its place and sustain and nurture me as a human being, and all of us on this planet especially. I didn't know how to word all that, really, but as a child growing up, being told that I need to be saved, all I did was just decided, I'm just going to stuff this and forget it, and I just kind of pushed it and forgot it until I got into an adult. I ran into someone who introduced me to another path of spiritual perspectives, the path of new thought. Oh, there's so many areas there to explore. I just took right to it. And it certainly seems that the comment that's attributed to Jesus, and there's a wonderful figure for you for history. Jesus the Christ was right on when he proclaimed, "It's done unto you as you believe." As you believe. Amen. Absolutely. There's a lot of beliefs, and it's done unto me. Well, what we come to believe empowers us or overpowers us with our actions and our behaviors as we follow that belief. That's what it comes down for me. Perhaps the most applicable, did anyone ever tell you that I may go off track here? Well, I want to say this. I think the most applicable suggestion for feeling happiness can maybe be attributed to a man who didn't appear to be all that happy in our history. Abraham Lincoln. He had his share of unhappiness. He is supposed to have said this: a man will be as happy as he makes up his mind to be. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Sounds right out of Reverend Julie's sermon. That's a simple statement when you think about it. Let's say a person will be as happy as they make up their mind to be. Well, that's such a simple statement. That would be all we would need if we were just simple human beings. But you know, isn't the story. That's not the truth. The truth is we are complex beings that can be complicated beings with complicated emotions and feelings and thoughts that are so much of the world of first appearances that becomes very complicated. So much of the world chatter often overpowers us, and it overpowers that little still small voice waiting for us to come into alignment with things. That's the voice of the soul, I think. And all I can tell you right now is because I have no proof of anything except what I think. And I'm just sharing this with you. It's not easy for us to do, if we don't have a grasp or some understanding of maybe what the soul is, first off, where are we going to go with all that? So the topic given us today is the happiness of the soul. And that can stir up some questions that been on my mind. First off, if it is that way, then is the soul's happiness different from our human happiness? And how do we fit into our life if we aren't sure what the soul is, even? It seems to be so emotionally charged with human descriptions, lost souls, dark night of the soul, souls that need to be saved. We humans have seemed to have layered the idea of soul in so many versions and ways of describing soul, such as where does it come from, where does it reside here in our world, how do we find the soul, how do we feel the soul. I just like the idea of Ralph Waldo Emerson's take on this whole thing. He talked about human relationship, where it starts is what he called, well, you know this probably, the oversoul. The oversoul. Well, I was reading from this. What is the oversoul? What does it even figure in our topic? The happiness of the soul. Well, the current dictionary go-to etiquette is Google. Yeah. Well, I Googled, and I wasn't satisfied with the Google, but it did state in there something I thought was pretty close to things. It states that Emerson claims that the term oversoul can be understood as a collective invisible soul, invisible to the naked eye of the human, and is God's self that resides in all individuals and all life, making all mankind and all life connected as one with the source, God. Makes sense. That makes sense to me. The source of life. His exact words are this. They're kind of poetic. He said, "Within man is the soul of the whole," the WHOLE, the wise silence, the universal beauty to which every part and particle is equal, the eternal one and deepest power in which we exist, and it's accessible to one and all. No favorites. It's accessible to all life in any form. He says, we may see the world, the universe, piece by piece, as the sun, the moon, the planet, the animal, the tree, but the whole of which these are just shining parts. That is the oversoul of which we're all sold into. Okay. Thank you, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Oh my gosh, it seems to me that happiness is a pursuit of the human emotional need to feel in harmony with our life. The pursuit of happiness is the eternal human longing, is a human longing for the connection and belonging with other lives, other soul beings we encounter as we go along this, we call it a human journey, don't we? Yeah. I believe that oversoul, which Emerson speaks of, holds only joy of the divine purpose to experience life in all forms, including our human form, and it's eternally indestructible. I don't believe in lost souls. It just doesn't make sense to me. Lost humans, being human at times. In most of our New Thought teachings of soul, the soul of anything in New Thought teaches that it's thought to contain the archetype of all authentic life forms, the purpose of life forms, as Emerson infers. He says the oversoul being the whole Spirit's intention for living in all life forms in some way. Our soul holds for us, I think, our secure safety, the knowledge of God. That's the still small voice I'm talking about. It can filter awesome, infinite power of the creation part. And it's a reservoir. I've read this one time. It's a reservoir like a divine filter. Some people call them chakras. Now that sounds a little woo-woo, I know, to some folks, the chakras, but the soul can filter. Supposedly the soul filtering divine power is just the right amount and what we need at the right time. We would burn up if God overtook us in one fell swoop. We're in a human experience. Every burst of energy that we, in our human understanding, that we commit to love and to compassion, oh my God, to serve and remember our own goodness, our own godness, just responds to the soul's wisdom, I think, all the time. And that has the winds of, that's kind of poetic what I was reading on that. That has the winds of joy blowing through our lives, giving happiness on our human level, that which we can understand what joy is through our happiness. Our human happiness, I think, is the joy's soul, filtered perhaps to the levels that we can absorb and experience happiness. And I think that down deep, at soul depth, I think we want to experience life. I really do. Haven't there been times now when we know someone who has, let me see here, maybe in sorrow, who has a painful or threatening experience? Well, I've had that, a disruptive experience. And I'm going to admit, for the first time in a long time, I would feel really alive. Oh my God, awakened to life. Perhaps it was a life-changing happening starting at soul level. It happened to me one time when I thought I was going to die right there. But also deep down inside of us, we want to know why I think we've been born. Why are we here? Why have we been given birth? Why did we come to earth, and what is our purpose? Is there a purpose? Is it to be happy? Is it to be happy? Is that a purpose? Do we always want to be happy? That's another question I asked myself. Haven't there been times in that danger where we were threatened in some way, making us feel upset or whatever it could be, that when it passed, we were just awash with relief, pure relief, emotional relief, so happy for being relieved. I was in a class years ago, and this subject was about spiritual growth, spiritual mastery, and the discussion, I thought, it turned really interesting to me. We were asked to think about not having anything to measure for differences that encouraged change. Us to change our mind or change our attitude. Nothing like that. Don't consider that. And the question came up, how would we know the difference between happiness and unhappiness if all the time we were happy or all the time we were unhappy? How would we know what that either one was? Sometimes New Thought philosophy, even, we scoff at the word, the duality, we'll have that word, duality, the opposites. And so much of our teachings are written about solving and avoiding and neutralizing problems in the human conditional experiences, like finding the secret of happiness, the book on the laws of happiness. But thinking about it, for me, without contrast, without differences, without experiences in appearances or opinions, or without any challenging experiences that sometimes are labeled as mistakes or failed or failures, without disappointments, and everybody agree with everybody else, would life be the bowl of cherries that we could all be that happy then? Would that give us happiness? How would we navigate? This is the thing. I remember the question that came up in the class. How could we navigate change if there were no differences? How would we grow emotionally and spiritually if we never lost our bearings or our patience or our temper or whatever in all the stuff that makes us human? Human beings. What would we have left in our humanity to explore or unfold to reveal the mystery of awakening and the beauty of becoming more aware of our true selves, warts and all, God and all? I think the soul, the all-connected soul, which contains all spiritual wisdom, the indestructible is an indestructible conduit between oneness of the source of all that is and the individualness of human beings fulfilling our human spiritual beingness to have our earthly experiences so that we can love and serve and remember who we really are. I've come to know for me that all is well in my soul. All is well. And I think I'll ask Shannon to help me share with you my feelings about how well we are with our soul connection. I'm going to use my guitar for a little bit. Shannon, can you help me out with this?
I'll try.
Okay. Let's see. Now,
Sure, what I could do.
let me tell you this. Just let me tell you this. As soon as I find a place to put my foot, there we go. You gotta have a place to prop up to put a guitar on your knee or have a strap or something if you're going to work it out. Well, I've been so happy. I've been so sad. I've known sorrow and I've known glad. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. Time will tell and I will know all is well in my soul, in my soul.
Heaven or hell, wherever I go, all is well in my soul. All is well. All is well. Heaven or hell in my soul, all is well wherever I go.
All is well in my soul. All I know in my soul, all is well. All I know in my soul, all is well, all is well. Amen to that. It matters not what we go through. In fact, it was, I think, some of your talk was that. Somebody said that this morning in a meditation, what it was. Matters not. Pain, whatever is going to happen, all is well in our soul. So the truth is, happiness is not unhappiness is not a problem. Unhappiness is not a problem. It's a problem when we decide to make it one. So, son of a gun, I don't want to sound more long-winded than I really am. But I want to read something to you from Rumi as we close into our next stage here. Maybe someone here has some sorrow in their life right now, has something that their heart is not feeling completely happy. But this quote from Rumi starts out about that. So thank you, we'll start. He wrote this for the times that we feel. that happiness just isn't on our horizon. Or if we have deep unhappiness or maybe sorrow, he said this: sorrow prepares us for joy, deepest human happiness, so that new joy can find space to enter. It shakes the yellow leaves from the bough of your heart so that fresh green leaves can grow in their place. It pulls up the rotten roots so that new roots hidden beneath have room to grow. Whatever sorrow or unhappiness shakes from your heart, far better things will take their place. This is what your soul knows. This is imminent happiness, imminent joy. Thank you for that. And so it is. This is a special song. This is one of my favorite songs.
It is a special song.
Yes.
Absolutely. Written by John Aston. Love, serve, and remember. If you know it, please sing along. Why have you come to earth? Do you remember? Why have you taken birth? Why have you come? To love, serve, and remember. To love, serve, and remember. Why have you come to earth? Do you remember? Why have you taken birth? Why have you come? To love, serve, and remember. 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 Thank you.
Thank you, Ari. Thank you, Shannon and Dawn. Wasn't that fun and happiness producing? Yeah. Oh my God, I feel so blessed this morning. And so at this time in our service, I'm giving all of us an opportunity to bless this community with our gifts and offerings. And Shannon and Dawn, would you like to do the honors here? And share with me this affirmation. Divine love, moving in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
I am grateful, I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful, I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful, I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful, I am grateful for the abundance in my life, for the abundance in my life.
And so I want to go through this offertory again. Divine love, moving in and through me, blesses. And let's just look at that, blesses. There is power in blessing. There is power in our word. We knew the power in our word, or the power that we speak our word. So we power in our blessing. What we give multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so for me, this time in the service, and usually I do mine online, I have to say, so I take this into a broader sense of giving. But this opportunity to share, no matter how big, how little, it opens up something in us for a divine flow to come through more and more. So it is a very sacred time. Thank you, and blessing all the gifts and all that we receive. Thank you, God. Yeah. And so let us say together our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so we stand, we hold hands, and we affirm the possibility of peace.
We shall sing. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow to take